I'm an ambassador for the I Will campaign, a young leader, an ambassador public speaker, but I'm also a 20-year-old university student. Myself, I've come through the education system in my hometown in South Wales. I'm lucky enough to be here today talking to you a little bit about my social action journey, talking you through about my experiences as a young person going through the education system, and talking through how use social action, in honesty, saved my life. But I also got a second goal, which I'm going to try and do in the next 5 minutes, which is going to be a pretty tough task. And that's to hopefully energise every single teacher and head teacher and member of staff in this room, to hopefully you can become the best educators you can for the next and upcoming year. So I'm going to start with telling a little story. I'm going to take you back to a time when I was age 13 in my secondary school. And I thought, you know what, secondary school is going to be amazing. I love primary school, I love playing with friends, I love the physical activity side of things because I love sport. I thought, you know what, school's going to be amazing. But I went to school and I soon started to realise 1 or 2 years in that things started to change. And I didn't quite realise, I didn't know what was going on. I thought these things were just happening, but I realised that I started to become a lot negative as a person. My mindset started to change. I started becoming more depressed. I started becoming more conscious on the stuff I was doing, what I was saying, and even what I was wearing because of the people I surrounded myself with. And it was only a couple of months down the line that I was actually diagnosed with anxiety and depression, a mental health problem. Now, at the age of 13, having that, didn't have a clue what it meant. Some people told me, yeah, it's just in your head, but I didn't know how that was going to affect me. I didn't know the difference it was going to have. And this image describes me pretty well. That was me falling off the edge of the cliff. That was school. The cliff was school. I'd fallen off it completely, and I was holding on to that last branch. And that last branch was one of my supporting teachers in school. And you'll see here, the one thing that was weighing me down was my pride. Now, I had to make a decision in my life. Do I lose go of what I've become and the reputation that I have in school, being quite a big lad, a big physical guy and playing rugby in school? Do I let go of that reputation and try and grab that teacher's hand that wanted to help me? And I made my teacher once sat me down, and it was a conversation that I'll always remember. And he sat me down and said, Luke, something has to change. And I said, well, what's it? What do I change? How do I change? And I remember he said a few simple words to me. And he said, change starts with you. And I always remember that, as in, everyone thinks of changing the world, but nobody quite thinks of changing themselves. So for me, I had to make that change. I didn't know what I was going to be, but I was going to do it to become a better person. Now this was my goal. I thought, you know, I'm going to make this change and set myself a goal and become a lot happier and better person, how I used to be. But then over the last 2-3 years, that was the journey. I never expected of all them barriers, them obstacles to overcome. But what I realised was when I got to that end goal in year 11, I realised that I was a much more better person for it. I'd experienced all these obstacles, experienced all these challenges, and it allowed me to become who I was today. I ended up leaving school in my last year with 5 GCSEs. I was told in year 10, you've got no chance, you're going to fail your GCSEs. I put my head down, I worked hard. My attendance rose from 32% in year 10 to 95% in year 11, simply because I changed in my mind. I told myself, I can do this, I believe in myself. But there's one thing that helped me get back on that straight path, and that was volunteering. By participating in meaningful youth social action, it allowed me to discover who I really was. My passion was sports, but I realised I couldn't play sports my whole life, so I decided to start volunteering. By doing that, by helping others, I was actually helping myself. By seeing others come and have fun in my sessions, smiling, being happy, being physically active, it enabled me to build my self-confidence and allowed me to become a more confident and much more of a leader. Now as teachers, you all have that responsibility inside of you. You have the chance to deliver and to lead from a generation of young people who can become world leaders. And what I mean by world leaders, I don't mean on the main stage, I mean the smallest stage in their schools and in their communities. Young people have a voice, they have actions, they want to do these kind of things. We just have to ask. And we have to be willing to listen to what they say. Young people are the next generation. They're the future of our societies, and our communities, and our schools. So let's start having that conversation with them. Now for me, when I seen the theme of this conference was next steps for well-being, I thought, okay, how can I kind of simplify this? What do I think that needs to happen in education in order to improve the well-being of students? And these are 4 key principles that I've come up with. Very simple. I've used emojis to make it a bit younger. So what we're going to do is there's 4 simple things. It's a committed spirit, where people feel they can share, they can open up, they can have that conversation. The next one, a successful mind, where they can create. Is it correct? Yeah, where they can create, think, and they can work effectively inside the classroom and out. Being healthy in the body, be able to move, be physically active, to eat the right foods, but importantly, to be able to relax. That conversation was earlier about having that downtime to relax and discover who you are. And if we can do all these three things, that can lead to a better world, where we can engage, we can lead, and we can serve. They're four simple things that I've got as a young person. But them simple things can allow us to move forward as a generation. But I've got one last message before I want to finish. And this is one thing that we don't do enough of. We don't believe in ourselves enough. Now, my challenge to you, every single teacher, head teacher, staff member here today, is for the next academic year, I want you to believe in yourselves. Pretty tough ask, but it's something that some of us don't do enough of. Teachers are not given enough credit for the work that they do. As a teacher, you didn't sign up to be a mentor, a life coach, a counsellor, a deliverer. You didn't. Because these are the things that we often shy away from saying. But you've got a responsibility for all of these things. So I want every single one of us in this room today to believe that this next academic year is going to be the best year yet. For yourselves as teachers, but for your students as well. Because this year we're going to allow them the opportunity to move forward and to take lead of their futures. Thank you very much. And this is my contact details. I'm more than happy to get involved. But thanks for having me.
Absolutely speechless. I can't say anything about that. Fantastic.
I just wanna know what you look like without a weight on your soul. I know somewhere we could get away. If you wanna find another place, love, disappear and never leave a trace. I'll take you anywhere.